Hello everybody, Bill here, that owl guy. We're getting ready to go deliver a bunch of owl houses this morning. Got the tactical yakking mobile all loaded up, and when we get back I'm going to give you guys a quick lesson on what these owls do during the fall time and what to expect. So stick around, we'll be back. Okay, hey guys, well, we got those boxes delivered. I had to rush home real quick, build two more. I got to get these out today also, and one of these is a rescue box, and I want to touch base on that. That's part of our subject today, because later on we're going to be talking about the seasonal behavior on these owls in the fall season and what's going on. That's the main gist of this video. But I do want to show you, these are both camera boxes. I haven't gone over these before. If you guys are interested, these camera boxes are identical to our regular Screech owl boxes. They're dimensionally, construction wise, they're absolutely identical. They got the big footprint in them, ventilation, hole on the side, all sealed up. The only thing different is on this side of the box there's a door, and you can put this down, mount your camera to the door, or if you want to reach in here, put the camera up in here, and then close this up, and that's it. Selling a bunch of these. They're user friendly, the simple design. It's just a simple, straightforward, functional design for a camera box, and you don't have to worry about trying to fiddle around and get the camera up in here with this hand or pull the bottom out of the box, and you don't have to mess with any of that business. And actually, I'm selling a lot of these to folks who are thinking down the road they might want to get a camera, and these work great because you don't have to take them off the tree. You can actually install your camera in the box while it's up on the tree. Alright, so that's it on that, guys. I appreciate you watching that part of the video. But let's go ahead and start talking about these owls seasonally. Okay, let's get started with our lesson for the day. We're talking about two things. We're going to talk about what happens in the late summer into fall. What are these owls doing? And then we're going to erase the board, and we're going to talk about the owl population and density in certain areas and why you're seeing more owls or less owls. Okay? So you can see we got you a visual aid to help us. Okay? First thing I want you to notice is this bell curve. A little bell curve up there. Okay? Every animal's behavior can be described with a bell curve. And the bell curve is based on population. So more animals are doing something up here, less animals are doing the same thing here, less animals are doing the same thing here. So that means that the animals are not doing certain behaviors on an exact date. Okay? And people are just going to have to get a grip on that. That when I say August 1st, that doesn't mean all the owls are going to feed at midnight on August 1st. Okay? So their behaviors are spread out over a time frame. Okay? So we're going to talk about late summer into fall, what's going on with these owls. Alright, starting in about July, see the bell curve? Dot, 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 dot. About July, these owls will fledge. Okay? They're going to be ready to get out of the nest and fledge. And they're going to do their thing. They're going to fall into your yard, and they're going to be around your yard for a week or so. And the parents are going to continue to guard them and feed them until they are strong enough to fly. And then in that period of time, owls are going to, the whole family is going to disappear. They're going to fly out of the territory. They're going to leave your territory, okay? And that's where the parents are teaching them to be owls, teaching them to hunt, teaching them the way of the owl, okay? So that's going to last, into August and through into September, okay? Peaks around August. A lot of this is weather dependent, okay? And then, as we move into September, and we're about mid-September right now, As we move into September, the parents will begin to abandon those the young owls, the owlets, and the parents are going to return back to their box. Okay, most of the time. Some may not. Okay, well, that's going on. You have young owls who have been abandoned now. They're going to be looking for a place. And one thing you're going to see on here, this is not a bell curve. This goes up, and that's almost a straight line on into December, January, February, so on. That's because those owls are always going to be looking for a place. Always looking for a place to roost, always looking for a hole in the tree. Okay? And the reason for that is the male owls, they're going to be ready to mate that next year. Those male owls are going to be looking for 2 or 3 or 4 different places to potentially take a mate and have baby owls. So they're always looking for a place to mate or a place to roost, and there is a shortage of cavities in any area that humans go to because we can come in and knock down all the trees. Okay, so always going to be a shortage of holes. The owls are always going to be looking for them. Okay, parents are going to be returning and probably taking back over the old box, so that box isn't going to be available anymore. All right, so that makes sense. So around July, they're going to fledge. More fledge. Everybody flies off in here and goes in their learning curve. Parents begin to abandon them. Parents return. Young owls start looking for a place to stay. And this is when you start seeing this area right here is when you start seeing these groups of owls. You'll see the young owls, 2 or 3 up in a tree, or 2 or 3 up in a bush. You may, in this area here, you may see the entire family of owls. We saw a lot of videos this year of owls and bird baths, and there'll be a family of owls. There'll be 2 adults and 3 babies. Okay, and as the year progresses, that number gets smaller and smaller, and the young ones become more independent. And the young ones are going to stay together as siblings, usually for a couple weeks. Ultimately, they'll go off on their own, but usually the 2 or 3 week window there that they're so used to each other, they're still needing that security of the family, they'll hang out together. And then ultimately, as you go into the later year, they'll find their own place, or a predator will get them, and they'll be on their own. All right? And one thing to remember, it's a bell curve. So, all the way over here, look up here in January, December of last year, because it was so warm, way down here, I had owls on the nest with eggs in December of last year. Typically, that's going to be around March, April, May, okay, into June. Last year, I also had owls going on the nest as late as September, or right now. So this time last year, I had 2 pairs of owls on nests on eggs. Okay? The majority of this business happens here. So that's the mating season. You can see. Here's the fledging season of what the owls are doing. Okay? Hope that makes sense to everybody. So this is why, starting in about August, you're going to start seeing a lot more owls. And then in September, you'll see groups of owls, 2 or 3, excuse the noise. We've got the noisiest golf carts in the world where I live. I swear they sound like pea thrashers. Anyways, so you're going to see groups of owls, smaller and smaller, the fledglings, the siblings, and then it tapers off. And this is the area where you're going to find these small owls. This year we found a lot of them in people's gazebos, their pool houses, carports, and they get up in the rafters and joists up in there because there are no holes for them to go to, so they get up in those areas because they're well protected, and they'll spend the day up in there. Now that is not a natural environment. Ultimately, those owls have got to find a hole somewhere. Okay, but that's a better place than being up in a tree somewhere where they're likely to become victims of larger birds like hawks and larger owls. Okay? Alright, so I hope that explains why you guys right now, or last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we're seeing so many small owls on your property. And for all you people who saw owls on your property, there's probably 10 or 12 people or 14 people that never saw owls that have them on their property because they're so well camouflaged. And most people see them early in the morning. They'll see the owl fly into a tree, and then they'll come back the next morning, owls in the same tree. It goes on and on and on. So people have a chance to see them, but if you don't see them fly into a tree during the daytime, you're just not going to see the owl up there, because they'll sit perfectly still. You can walk within 2 feet of them, they won't move, and you'll never know the owl's there. So there's a lot more owls out there than you are seeing on the various posts on the forums. All right, I'm going to erase this, and we're going to look at population density and what's going on. Hang on. Okay, so let's talk population density, what happens with these owls, why so many people start seeing so many owls all of a sudden, and what's going on with that. And preface this by saying most owls, barred owls, barn owls, and horned owls, they have a very stable population. They're not decreasing or increasing. Actually, the barred owls are pretty resilient. They're increasing in population. But these screech owls are decreasing in population, and it's because of us. It's because we go in and we knock down the trees with the holes in them that they require to roost in. Okay? So, here's our blank board. You see that? Okay? This is going to be our neighborhood. Okay, so Bill comes in, he gets a phone call, and he puts in an owl house. And then down the street, the neighbor wants one, they put in an owl house. And then over here, somewhere else in the neighborhood, somebody gets an owl house. So we'll start a neighborhood with like 4 owl houses, okay? So first year, you might get, and I tell people, don't call me in 2 weeks because you don't have an owl, because it can take up to a year. It might take 2 years sometimes, depending on your location, to get an owl. But generally in the first year, a couple of those houses are going to get owls, okay? They're going to get a nesting pair, okay? So, let's say this one gets a nesting pair, and this one gets a nesting pair, okay? Now, in my boxes, generally you're going to get 3 fledglings out of them. You can get up to 4 or 5, but the round number is 3 per box. 3 extra owls per box, okay? So, those owls are going to go, they can fly as far as 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles away from their place of birth. But if there's food in there, in that area, if there's food in this area, and if they're living around humans, we got rats everywhere, and about half these boxes I put up for pest control. Those owls are going to cruise that territory. Okay? And these guys are going to cruise this territory. Okay? So, now you have, on top of your original 2 nesting pair, you have, let's say you have 6 more owls in there. Okay? So they're going to be looking for a place to go. Now, these people have talked to somebody, and they've seen their owls, and they're just fascinated with them because everybody loves the owls. So somebody else wants to get a box. Okay? So the guy down the street gets a box. Okay, and this guy over here gets a box. Okay, this guy doesn't have an owl yet, and he's probably calling me saying, hey, why don't I get an owl, right? Well, he just needs to be bloody patient. Okay, so the following season, they're going to get a nesting pair. they're going to get a nesting pair. Now, when they fledge, you've got this going on. Okay? Okay, so you have some overlapping areas where those new fledges are going to be. Okay, so the neighbors all get together. Ooh, I gotta have an owl box. Ooh, we gotta have an owl box. Oh, so-and-so over on such and such street said you've got owls, can have an owl box. Sure. So now we're off to the races. Okay, this is year 2. Okay, so here's year 3. Now you're gonna get a nesting pair, nesting pair, nesting pair, and you're gonna have a bunch more owls out there looking for a place to go. So that means this guy's probably going to end up getting an owl down here. So now we're going to overlap this territory. We're going to come over here. We're going to overlap this territory. We're going to come down here. And this guy's going to overlap that territory. Okay? And this guy's going to end up getting an owl too. So ultimately, pretty soon your neighborhood is covered in owls. And just from observations, what we've seen is this is about a 3-year process. It's 2 years to see the first, to where we can visibly see more owls. But usually in a neighborhood like this, in about 3 years, if we don't have anything weird or external going on, in about 3 years, you're going to get a pretty dense population of owls with a lot of overlap in territories. Okay, you can see this one's just overlapped this whole thing and overlapped. And each one of those overlapping areas is extra genetics. So different pairs of owls. Okay, and they're going to have baby owls. So somebody else is going to get a box, and you're going to have another one. So then that cycle is just going to keep going and going until people stop buying boxes, or until the owls run out of food, or they just don't have a place to roost, in which case they're going to leave the territory. So here's the end of the neighborhood, and they're going to go across the street. And they're going to head up this way, and they're going to find a place to roost up here in a box that I put up. So that's why after about 3 years in some of these neighborhoods that I go to, we go from almost no owls to people just seeing owls all the time, and all the boxes having owls in them, and people spotting a lot of young owls this time of year. Okay, that is why that is. Okay, it's just a matter of getting the boxes up and getting started, getting the process started, and then you talk to your neighbor. You know, you got an owl, don't keep it a secret. Talk to your neighbor, and they get a box up, and all is well. And you can go from, let's do this real quick. Let's just wipe some of this off. People worry about how close can the boxes be. Okay, there's a lot of different standards for that. On these Screech owls, the industry standard is about 50 feet between boxes. Okay, so 50 feet between boxes. That's not, like everything else I tell you guys, it's not set in concrete. Okay, people have just got to learn to be flexible. I have one gentleman who has he has no trees, 0 trees. Here's his house. Okay, he's got about a 75 or 80 foot fence line back here. That fence line just happens to point in a direction where the owl boxes don't get overheated. No trees. He's got a box here. He's got a box here. He's got a box here. Those boxes are, I don't know, 30 or so feet apart from each other. Okay? The secret is they're all pointed in the same direction. They're not pointed at each other. So if you're going to put multiple boxes up in your yard, you can put them up. Just don't point the boxes toward each other, okay? Because when they do mate, they're going to be a little territorial. These guys will leave each other alone if you do that. And they'll learn to tolerate each other, okay? Don't forget, you can also put a box on the side of your house if you want, assuming it's not going to get overheated in the summertime. So there's lots of options for putting multiple boxes up. So let's go back to our neighborhood. We're gonna show you guys something here. So say you put a box up and your next door neighbor wants a box. So you're gonna put a box up in his tree. These trees might be 30, 40, 50 feet apart from each other. And then you got another neighbor 2 doors down, they want a box. That arrangement is fine. Okay? You're just gonna have a bigger overlap of territories. And hopefully one of your neighbors behind you, somewhere in the neighborhood, has got a box. So that when these hatch, they'll populate that area. Okay? So multiple boxes are the ticket. I really do advise people to, if you can afford it and you've got the room, go ahead and put 2 boxes up if you want to begin with. It just increases your chances. Multiple boxes will increase your chances of getting owls. It doesn't mean you're going to get an owl. You might not, for crying out loud. They're owls. But it's going to increase your chances. Okay? I think that's probably pretty explanatory on why the densities, why we've been seeing so many owls in certain areas this year, more than we have in the past. We just have a higher survival rate. And you got to remember, these owls are, you get these little owls, when they get up in a tree, they don't have anywhere to roost. So you get Mr. Owl sits up in here, and he may have his sibling sitting up in here too. But that is an unnatural environment for them. That's a temporary environment at best for these young owls, okay? Sooner or later, they've got to find a box or a hole in the tree. Either you get a hole in the tree, or you're going to put a box on the tree, okay? So what we found this year worked great. As soon as people would call me and they saw multiple owls up in their tree, siblings, we get a box on that tree, or really close to that tree, and within a day or two, the owls were in the box, okay? What we also found was you might get 2 of these owls going to the box temporarily. They'll tolerate each other for a while, okay? But ultimately, one of those is going to be a dominant, and he's going to run the other one off. So it's a good idea to get extra boxes up. I do have one customer who, she did not have anywhere else to put a box, and she had owls in her tree. So we put a box on either side of the tree, back to back, with the openings going opposite directions. That's kind of a dicey proposition, but it worked. All the owls found the boxes. Okay, so that's just a demonstration of how desperate they are to find these boxes. Now, if you've got something like a garage or a pool house or a gazebo or something, and you've got an owl sitting up in the rafters, so here's your beam, here's the rafters coming up, and your owl's going to sit in this hole right here. Okay, here's the roof line. That's your roof line. They're doing that because they're trying to be protected. They're trying. All they are is cowering in that hole. They're cowering in that corner. Okay, so predators don't find them. Ultimately, they need a roost. Ultimately, you need to get a box up somewhere, preferably within sight of that owl, okay? But this owl is going to get so used to being in this spot that it may take a few days for him to go down to that box that you built, okay? And that's why I say you can call these owls in, using the information we've given you before. Call the owls so they find that hole sooner than they otherwise would. Ultimately, their instincts are going to drive them to that box, okay? And the other thing with these owls up in the trees, going into fall and winter, as the trees defoliate the owls become exposed, and the predators are going to start getting them. So other owls, hawks, things like that are going to get them. So I hope this helps, guys. I've got just a messy board now. So I hope this helps. Y'all have a great one. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. If you want to email me, it's tactical yakin at gmail.com. Okay, so if you want to email me, need information, do it. If you'd like a box, email me, and then I will get your information from you, and have you text me on my phone, and we'll get you a box up. But hope this helps, guys. Y'all have a good one. Bye.